Katie, have at it.
Okay. So I guess hi, my name's Katie. I think most of you probably know who I am. But I have been doing this for almost 3 years, and I have to admit, when I first started, I was like, it wasn't a big push about groups. Um, and then Facebook, changed all their algorithms like they always do. And then people started talking more about groups and getting into groups. And for a while, I was like, no way, that's silly. Like, I didn't really want to do it. And then I finally did. I got into some groups and I was like, this is not working. I don't even know what people are talking about. Well, of course, because I wasn't in groups that were interesting me and I wasn't in groups that I was like truly passionate about. So it wasn't helping me at all. And so once I started finding things that I was passionate about, that I liked, that I could often post in the group and get interactions with, then it made sense to me. So I think probably part of the missing piece is like maybe you're in a group that you're like, I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting anything out of the group. I'm not making connections with people. It might just be something that maybe you're not passionate about. Um, and so I just really had to dig deep and be like, what am I passionate about? Well, one of the things is like, I'm a social worker. I work full time. I actually work from home. I'm working from home today, so I had some time. I just took my break early. And so I'm in some social work groups. And of course, those conversations are really easy for me, to have conversations with people, to be able to reach out to them when they're like, I'm so tired, I can't handle this another day. When they're talking about paperwork and the exhaustion, when they're talking about, just getting so much backlash from their clients, like I can relate to that because it's what I do every day. So you have to find something that you can relate to, and you may just be thinking like, oh, I have to be in groups about health, I have to be in groups about working out, I have to be in groups about losing weight. And it's not the case. Like, you need to just find things that you can relate to so that you can build relationships and you can find the people that, like you said, have the same values as you, and have same interest as you, because it makes the conversations easier. And it may feel like it's tough at first, but literally you're just sifting and sorting. So you may go through like 100 different people and you're like, I have no idea, like, this, what am I doing? I just feel like I keep pulling up sand and pulling up sand and I'm not finding anything, and I'm pulling up sand. And maybe you'll finally find like that shiny rock and this person that's like, oh my gosh, I totally connect with them. They're amazing. This is my kind of person. And maybe it's the next person that's going to join your team, or maybe it's your next customer. You just never know. So you got to keep going and make those connections, and they have to be personal. So it has to be personal to you. So when you're in a group, like, the group has to be personal. Don't just be in a group to add people. Don't just be in a group looking for your next customer, your next promoter. You have to have a personal connection, and it has to be your passion. So I honestly, I don't have a ton of other stuff to add besides that. I'm sure Stacy has a lot of great stuff because she's awesome. So I'm sure she could piggyback off that and tell us a bunch of great stuff. So I can mute.
Stacy, before you start, Katie, thank you very, very much for taking your break early. It really means a lot to me. And if you guys don't follow Katie or Stacy, you need to, because they're both very inspirational. When I first saw Stacy, it was in a 200K swap, the very first one I was in. And she was talking about time management and Trello. And I was listening to her, I'm like, this broad's crazy. I can't, there's no way I can even do that. But hearing her throughout the time and everything, she's very inspirational. And what she said last night on groups, I just knew she had to be here today. So thank you for coming, Stacy, and take it away.
You are so welcome. And it's funny, like Trello, it's not for everyone. And it's the same people who love the digital planners will love Trello. But if you have to have paper, then don't try Trello, because it's just, you've got to do what works for you. Yeah. And I laugh because I've gone back and forth. I have spent so much money on planners that I hate. They're great for like 15 minutes and I don't fit in it. So now I run around with, I looked at my husband, I said, I'm going to buy an iPad. And he said, for what? And I said, because I need a bigger planner and I can get unlimited pages in an iPad. So I bought an iPad. And he goes, why are you still carrying around a notebook? I said, I need both. Go away. I don't ask you about how many bows you need to hunt deer. Don't ask me about how many notebooks and digital items that I need to run my business. So you'll figure it out. So whether it be, so I have, I just got this iPad. Yeah, exactly. Here's my life. I need 2 bags, one for all my kids' crap that I have to carry around and one for all mine, and a wallet and keys. One of the things that Katie touched on that's so huge is it's kind of like when you, okay, so picture walking into a party and you look around the party and you see somebody and you're like, I think I want her to be my friend. And then you run up to them, you grab them, you duct tape their arms together, you throw them in your cart, and you take them out for lunch. That's why you're getting kicked out of Facebook groups. It's the same thing. So here's how I describe working in a Facebook group, and it usually helps it, like, kind of to make sense. So if Facebook itself, the news feed, the search bar is the long hallway, the groups on either side of the hallway are like a room. Okay. So there's a room here of organic moms. I don't belong in there at all. So I keep walking. But the next room is full of moms who are married to people who hunt. I can work in there because those moms are going to be just like me, you know, going, wait a minute, I got to move the baby. I don't want him to see that. He still thinks hunting's fun. So, you know, there's going to be, there's a different group for each of us based on what we're interested in. I have a French bulldog. So I went into French bulldog groups, but what I found was the people who own French bulldogs are crazy. And Shannon already told you I'm crazy, but I wasn't quite as crazy as the people in there who like were buying their dogs coats and shoes. And Stella does not, she does have a coat, but she does not have shoes. She doesn't need shoes. So I didn't fit in there, but I found a different group full of people who have dogs with behavioral issues. My dog has behavioral issues. If she was a human, she probably would have, you know, ODD, ADD, and some other things too, and some like anger management issues. Stella's very special. She's sleeping next to me right now, and I'm laughing because usually when I do a Zoom, she's barking at the computer. Nikki knows this. Stella joined us, and you too, many times with Stella trying to put in her 25 cents worth. So when I go, so my groups are seasonal as well because I live in Michigan. The roads today are a solid sheet of ice. The only people in campers in this area right now are the hunters, right? So we're not going camping this weekend. We will be at home. We will be doing indoor fun activities. So I find groups, because I have a kid, this works for me, of fun, cheap, or free things to do with kids in your area. And because of that, like, my purpose for getting in the group was to find something to do with the 4-year-old who many of you have also seen climb the walls. He's at preschool right now, so this worked out perfect. Otherwise, he'd be in here bouncing on my bed. So to keep him busy, to keep his mind engaged, let's go do a thing. But what happens is Jack will find a little human that he likes in the group. And then that little human has a mommy. And then I get to decide if that mommy is someone that I want in my little mommy circle of friends or not. Sometimes Jack's got friends whose moms I'm like, oh, she's a lot for me. Like I use Black Label the days that we have play dates, but there's other moms that I'm like, oh my goodness, she's like my soul twin. And we have the same values and we enjoy some of the same things. So I add those people. Well, this last one, she said to me, I talked about her on the Zoom last night too. She said, are you on Facebook? And I was like, yes, I am, like, hey, you can add me. So she added me and we met again for another play date yesterday. And I haven't really said anything about my business. She said she liked my car and I thanked her. And she said, my husband and I share a car. And I said, I've been there, but this one here, I don't have to pay for. She said, how do you get a free BMW? I'm like, I'll explain it later. You're in a hurry. You got to go. I don't right away. And there's a reason for me, I'll explain it later, is I have to say that, or instead of, so that my mind and my mouth can actually connect that way, because otherwise I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. My company pays for our car. So all you have to do is get yourself signed up. We'll get you an account. We'll get you some product going out, blah, blah, blah. Like I'm launching them and they're like, I just like your car, sis, slow down. So, and I think the closer we are to rank, the faster we are to launch them before they've recruited themselves into our business. So I like to just ask questions. So back to these groups. I'm in a lot of camping groups. We just got our camper last summer. Well, a year ago in the fall. But last summer was the first time we actually got to use the thing. And so we were new to camping. I never camped as a little girl. I mean, I slept in a horse trailer that had a living quarters because I grew up with horses, but we didn't like go camping. We went to a rodeo and needed somewhere to sleep. So we slept in the trailer. It's totally different. So, where's a fun place to camp for a 4-year-old? Because my sister goes to really cool places and they have a ton of really cool things that my kid can't do. So that would not be good. So I went in this group of Michigan and Ohio RV and camping, and I said, new to this, where's a good place to camp with a very long fifth wheel and a 4-year-old? And I got a ton of ideas. Maybe when I search bar, for example, like photography. You don't want to know what I thought that said. I looked over there and saw it said not photography. Like started with a P and ended with
I see pornography too.
Yes. I was like, we don't want to look for that, which I know you guys didn't ask for Instagram, but I'm going to tie this together for you so you can learn both at the same time. So when you're looking into whether it's Instagram and hashtags or Facebook and Facebook groups, if you remember, and some of you might not because you're not as old as me, but back in the day, we didn't have Google. So if we wanted to go to look up a certain book, we would go into a library and they had this codex thing. And you would look up a book based on this little number, or you have a recipe card box now. So if I want to make dinner, I go grab my recipe box and I can look up dinner recipes and I'll have this many. Well, I'm lying because I have this many. Nobody likes food at my house. So, but if I want chicken recipes, I can narrow it in even tighter. If I want chicken pasta recipes, I can narrow that in even tighter. So that's with our hashtags, you've got to specificate, as my son says, specify it down, niche it down to exactly what you want. And we do that with these Facebook groups too, but it has to be something that you either do or you're interested in doing. I started knitting this year. And I had never done it before, except for one time when I was pregnant with Jack and Todd was in the hospital, and I made it like this far on a scarf, and I ripped it apart, and I don't even know where that bag is. Somewhere there's a bag with some yarn that I cussed out and some knitting needles when I quit. And then I decided I was going to knit socks. Nobody told me it was the hardest thing in the world to knit. And I finished it. And it took 2 weeks to finish those socks. Now I've made like 25 pair in my spare time while I watch videos. That's what I do. So it's getting in those knitting groups. I had questions. So I asked those questions in that group, and the people that were super receptive and wanted to help me, I sent this. Would it be okay, in the comment, would it be okay if I added you on Facebook so that if I get stuck again, I can just message you? So I asked permission. If they said no, just tag me in here. Okay, no problem. No problem at all, you know. But my inbox sometimes would flood. So here's a funny story. The lady who's helped me the most sent me a private message, and she said, I didn't want to call you out in the group, but you knit those socks inside out. You're knitting on the wrong side of your needles. And I'm like, oh, sweet baby Jesus. All right. Can I just turn them right side out? She said, you can try. I'm like, well, they're just hunting socks for my husband. So they don't have to be pretty. They just needed to keep his feet warm. So, you know, what do you do? What do you like to do? What did you quit doing after you had kids? Do you want to do that still? Or do you need something new to do? If you go into a group looking for, you know, people to kidnap and throw in the back of your minivan and take them out for coffee, it's not gonna end well for you. No more than going to the hospital to pick out a baby that's not yours. Like, people don't like that. But people like to make new connections, and people like to make new friends. And I'm going to tell you something. Our society as a whole right now is so hungry for people to actually care and not just talk. Where it's like 90% of what people say, it's just going out into thin air, because people are, this is very general, they're waiting for their turn to talk. And I see it in a comment thread, like somebody will say something and they think they know what people are going to respond with. So they're waiting. They already know, their fingers are ready, the words, the letters, they're all in there. And as soon as somebody says, well, I don't know if that's what's going to happen up there in that big White House in DC, they're like, and the devil flies from their fingertips, and they're not even processing what the other person said. So if we just slow down, and it sounds so counterproductive. Like, how do you hit 200K? Well, you just love on people. And everybody rolls their eyes. But that's all I've done. It's really all I've done is love on people. And I'm going to pick on everybody in here. Nikki's little boy, right? Am I right? Now that I'm going to say, I said, yeah, okay. He's a lot like my little Jack. So, you know, she's someone that I could watch her Facebook posts, and I could message her privately and say, you are not alone. I found mine on top of the entertainment center today, and all I did was go pee. And she's going to appreciate that I gave her an internet hug and basically said, you're doing it right, Mom. Some of these kids are just wild, and we do what we can, right? So that's why I work in the car when he's asleep, because he's 5-point harnessed in, and I don't have to look at him. I know he's not going to get hurt because he's 5-point harnessed in. I brought him home from McDonald's play date yesterday, and the kid is bruised. No joke. From the knees down, he counted them. There's 30 bruises on each leg. We were there for an hour and 15 minutes. Okay? And it's not because he bruises easy. It's because he's wild. So, you know, if I pass her a hug, the next day that her kid goes hog wild on her, and she's like, I don't know if I want to scream or cry, she's going to message me and say, how do you get through this? And for me, I've got my tenure in the mom business. My oldest one is 22. So when I'm in a group of mommies and they know that I've been doing this for 22 years and I have not been put into a straitjacket or a protective custody home where I can bounce my head off padded walls, because they're all boys. I'm severely outnumbered. You know, that I become a safe person to come to and say, what do you do? Like, what do you do when they're doing this? How do you get through? And at some point I say, listen, the deep breathing, the yoga, the all that stuff is fabulous, but you need some HTP5. Can I send you something to try? It changed my life. And they say, HT what? And I just, this is another mistake we make. Oh, it's an herb that they use in China to blah da 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 da. No, it's a sticker. It's a sticker. So I whip out my arm, I take a picture, and I say, this thing is loaded with everything that keeps my children and my husband alive. That's all. Moms are dangerous. We are. We just are. Right? You're in social work. You know how dangerous we are. And it's, you know, it's moms need this, you guys. And you got to think about that worst day ever that you had where you're trying to pay the bills. My husband walked in the other day. Said, did you make the camper payment? I'm like, no, I don't think I've made it since November, to be honest. Sorry. It's in that stack. Crap that I haven't gotten to on my desk. Can you take him out to play? I'll pay all the bills. Is the money there? I'm like, it's there. I just have to actually sit down and do it. Do you know how many moms get on Facebook every day and they're like, I have the perfect little life. My husband loves me to pieces and my kids are little angels. And then they close their laptop and they go cry for an hour before they start their day. They're posting for their mama. So their mom is not worrying that they're falling apart, but in real life, they're falling apart. So go in those groups. What in the world? Okay, we're still okay. I'm like, my computer, everything just left me. I thought it was trying to update is what I thought it was going to try to do. Not now. So go and give value. You can be a beacon of hope. You can be a beacon of information. Recovery over 40 for abused moms. Yes. You guys, I had, and I don't have it anymore, but I had a group years ago called Confessions of a Six-Figure Mom. And I would get nosy moms that wanted to know, she's really making six figures. But I would get other moms, and they would just come in there and say, y'all, the things that I say in my head when they can't hear it. And it was a safe place for moms to just vent. It got out of control, so I let it go. Mommy groups can go north or south. Relationship groups are the same. So you got to be careful, because I've gotten into these relationship groups and I'm like, oh, you know what? My husband does that too. It hadn't bothered me for 10 years, but it's bothering somebody else. Now it's going to bother me too, right? So don't get sucked in, but figure out, what do you want to do? And if you're one of those people that it's been so long since you've done it, that's my reminder to be an exceptional wife and text my husband because he's going to go to lunch. I legit have a reminder. It just says text time. Because I forget all about him when he's not here. If I'm doing this, like, that one's at school, that one's at work, I don't have to do anything till dinner. I'm doing my thing. Sorry. So, if you haven't done anything for yourself, you got to get down to what do you want to learn to do? Do you want to learn to sew? If you don't go in a stitching group. Do you like to run? Do you like to walk? Are you someone that maybe you've been sedentary for a while and you're ready to start working out? Go find a group for that. There's groups for that. And I'm going to share my screen for a second, if that's okay. Is that okay? Oh, it says I cannot. Maybe it'll let me. I am now the host. That's dangerous. I'm just kidding. All right, so we're going to go on my Google. I have someone pulled up right now. I have Katie pulled up because I went and followed you. Okay, so let's pretend, start throwing out somebody throw out in the chat, if I can pull the chat back up, a hobby that you like to do. I don't think I can see it. Shannon, you'll have to holler one out for me.
Well, I got karaoke.
Karaoke, okay. And where do you live? What state?
Maryland.
Maryland. I needed this. Yeah, my big kids are, they're real thankful for Thrive. I'll tell you how I knew it was working while I'm pulling this up. Texas, Maryland. So, because I met Chastity singing karaoke at an iced tea bar in Florida. It was an iced tea. So, and my old fishing and shooting. Okay, Rebecca, you stay with me. So, my now middle child walked in my office like this, all hunched up, and he was like, "Mom," I'm like, "Yeah, can you give me a ride to the skate park?" "Yeah, let me finish this real quick." His shoulders relaxed. He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, 5 minutes." He walked out of my office. He looked at my husband. He said, "Shouldn't even yell." I cried for an hour that night because I realized that I had been that, "What? Why? Get your stuff. Let's go." Because I was so busy. I just didn't have time to do the thing that I started this business to do. It wasn't this business. It was my last business that made me insane. So, it's crazy how something little like a ride to the skate park, that's what made me realize what Thrive had done for my disposition. So I put Karaoke Maryland, and now I'm going to hit groups right here. And here's this group with 4 posts a day. I wouldn't bother. Here's another one, 4 posts, 5 posts, 4 posts, 10 posts a day, Maryland Karaoke Live. That's one I would check out. And, you can get in and out. So I saw hunting, shooting guns, fishing, shooting guns. So outdoor woman group. Okay, so here's one right here, Women of the Outdoors, 30 posts a day. This group is for only women who love fishing, hunting, kayaking, camping, hiking, foraging, gardening, and enjoy the outdoors, as well as empower women to create their own outdoor adventure. Go get in that group right now. That's your zone. There's 1,700 people in here.
Hey, Stacey, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was in, I think it was Lisa's networking group, and she had said something to make sure you don't join groups like with more than like 2,000, 3,000 people. How do you feel about that? Do you think that's a good count, like to not go over?
Okay, so like this group has 12 posts new today already. It's 11 a.m. and there's 1,700 people in here. So they're going to be pretty engaged. But you'll see groups that have like 40,000 people in them and like 3 posts a day. That's a dead group. Nobody's checking in. So yes and no. Look at your and there's no magic ratio, but if you see there's, 5,000-10,000 people in there and there's only a couple posts a day, there's nothing going on. But like this right here, this is solid gold. 12 posts today, 329 posts in the last 30 days.
Oh yeah.
And then there are 440 new members in this group in the last 30 days, and it's a 7-month-old group. This group is hot. This is a hot group, and I'm going to stay out of it, Rebecca. It's all you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. You're welcome. So that's, and it's just, you got to think of different words. Like, what would you look at if you were hunting and fishing and shooting guns? And I said women of the outdoors. Now, you could do wild game recipes, cooking recipes. Okay. And you just click groups again. And then we've got, like, this one has 30 posts a day. This group has more people too, but it's food. So if you're going to try stuff, and that's the thing. So if you've got something to share, then you can go in. Like, I have a really good venison chili recipe that I could go in and share in there. And if somebody starts asking me questions, then I can start answering. Let me see here. Okay, so I know we've got crazy little boys. So groups for moms with wild toddlers. And you just have to get creative. Oh, see, now I said wild and it said autistic. That's not nice, Facebook. Moms and Dads of Toddlers Advice Group. This is a non-judgmental group. That lets me know that it is. Moms over 40 with toddlers and young children, 50 posts a day. I'm joining this group. What is your age? Go ahead.
I have something to add too. So I am somewhat new to this area where I live, and it was easy for me to meet like parents of my daughter's age because she's older and she was in sports and stuff right away. But my boys are younger, and I don't really know a lot of the parents that of their friends or who they would hang out with, and so it's been harder to get to know them. Well, when their birthdays roll around, of course they're inviting people to their birthdays. So usually on their birthday invitations, I will say to RSVP, I will put my phone number, my Facebook or my Instagram handle for them to RSVP to me. Yep. And 9 times out of 10, they'll find me on Facebook. Not even they won't text me.
Yep.
And usually they find me because of the local moms group. They'll search my name and they'll find me that way. So that's like another way to make sure like you're in the local groups, even if this local moms group annoys me a lot, but I stay in it because I know it's vital. And so that's another way, is to make sure you're known in your community and out there and people know your name, and connecting with people around you.
Exactly. Now, I know we only have a handful of minutes left, but I just went to meetup.com. And, oh, Lord, I have to know my password. We could be in trouble. Let's see what happens. Okay. Log in with Facebook. Let's see if it'll work. I just want to show you guys something real quick on Meetup. So yesterday, if you were on, we talked a little bit about the different things. So I've been meeting people. My internet is unstable. Were we not just talking about that? So, okay, within 50 miles. So I want to go within 10 miles of Temperance, and I want to put playgroup because I have a little one. I can't type. Okay, playgroup within 10 miles. Temperance Spanish playgroup meetup. I don't speak Spanish, so this is not a hit for me, but I knit. Is it not going to work for me? Oops. I got to close this chat real quick. I can't see what I'm doing. Let me just strike out for you guys. There, I promise Meetup is a decent tool. Oh, it says.
You spelled knitting wrong.
Oh, is that my problem?
There you go.
My fingers are so much faster than my brain. Calendar. Okay, so we'll guide you through. I don't want to do all this. I just want it to work. It wants me to knitting, no events. Okay, so we'll try.
I think it's telling you it updated its privacy policies or something like that.
It wants me to like, I basically made a new account real quick because I couldn't get it to work. We'll just do family. No family groups. Okay. Let me see something here. People. And see. So you can start a group on Meetup. This is something I've not done this since Jack was born. I'm just going to be honest with you. But before having him, I did this a lot. And I found lunch groups, networking groups, and it's not difficult to do. Toastmasters. If you can get into a Toastmasters group, they work on how you speak and like the intonation in your voice so that when you're presenting or doing calls, people are more drawn in. We tend to, now I'm going to tell you this, we tend to, as we finish a sentence, our voice drops down naturally. But when you're talking and inviting someone, if you make your voice come up, everybody's ears perk up because it's different. So that's a fun one to get involved in if you like to play tennis. Glass City Singles, not for me. Hikers, bikers, and paddlers, that would be another group for the outdoors. They're trying to email me. That's the problem. They're trying to email me on my old Facebook email that I just disconnected. So that's why it's not working. So once you have a confirmed Meetup account, it works much better. But that's a great way to meet people too. But just really get into your groups. Think about what you want to do and then use different words to find it. Because sometimes we want to search something that's so specific and we can't find it. And then with Instagram, hashtags work the same way as these groups. You can follow a hashtag. Did you guys know that?
Yes.
Now you can follow just the hashtag. So I am following I Mom So Hard because I Mom So Hard. I've been doing it for 22 years, right? And I get in there and I cheer all the moms on. That's all I do.